Hello, hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Silvia is joining right now.
Okay, perfect. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Cool.
Hi.
Hello, hello, Michela. Good evening. We have Sophia joining.
Sofia or Silvia?
I think both. Let's see. Okay, we have Sophia and probably Silvia joining. Okay, cool. I see all of you. Okay, guys, you don't see my screen, right?
No.
Okay, let me reshare. Okay, now can you see the slides?
Yes.
Okay. Cool, guys. Good evening. Welcome to the third lecture. Hope everything is well on your side. And if you remember I hope you remember, it was on Friday, what we saw in the last lecture. We saw basically the 4 A's. So in the first lecture, we saw the first P's, and then in the second lecture, we saw the first A's of marketing. And then we deep dive a bit in the marketing communication words and all the different elements of a communication and how we can play, if we are well aware about the elements, how we can play with them to make our marketing communication even more effective. So this was the last lecture in a nutshell. And today we are deeping dive in the marketing mix and in the marketing positioning. So let's start from the marketing mix. So marketing mix basically was a term invented by these guys, Neil Borden, that was one American famous marketing professor, but also professional. And basically he wrote an article speaking about this concept of marketing mix in the 60s already. So another one basic theory about marketing. By the way, he was the one also speaking about the 4 Ps of marketing. So once he presented the 4 Ps, he talked about this marketing mix, and he described this mix and also a marketing manager as a mixture of ingredients. So if we talk about marketing mix, you can think about yourself as a marketing manager. You can imagine that you need to create your own recipe or your own magic poison to be successful in the market. And then you need to mix all the different elements. For example, all the different Ps we saw, making your choices, deciding the quantity, and then as a final result in this metaphor we are imagining, you will have your perfect poison. So basically it's the mix of your elements, it's the mix of your Ps. If you remember, we discussed about product, price, place, and promotion. So these elements are a crucial part of marketing plan, but you will see how you can play with each of it to make your mix, your unique mix, I would say. In this case, having a unique mix is very, very important because as we were discussing, it's very difficult for you to have a unique product, a unique price, a unique promotion, and so on. But the mix out of the elements should be unique. Why should be unique? Because it makes you different in the market, and being different will allow you to have a market positioning. That is the second concept we'll see today. So starting from the product, we know that product is what is offered to the market to satisfy a need of a target customers. This is what we discussed in the first lecture. And we also know that a product may be tangible or intangible, but at the very end, always aiming to satisfy a human need. But if you are a marketeer, you should always ask yourself, once you have a product, what is what we call your unique selling proposition, also described as USP. Yes?
Silvia lost connection and she cannot
I see here, yes.
join.
Now she should be in.
Okay.
I see her in. I don't know if she can hear us.
Yeah.
Can you hear her well? Because I don't hear her well, but I don't know if it's me and my connection or it's about her.
Mine.
I hear you very bad.
She told me that she can hear us, but I can't hear her as well.
Okay. I see the finger. Okay. Good. But Andrea, for example, you can hear me well, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I think we have a good connection, but maybe Silvia's one is less powerful. Okay, good. So what I was saying is that within the product, you should always be very clear and very straightforward about what is your unique selling proposition. You always talk about USP of your product. So among many similar products, what is that one thing, and remember that it needs to be only one thing, that make your product different from every other. So at the very end of the day, your unique selling proposition is what you are really selling. So if you are selling a shampoo, you need to be very clear about what's the unique selling proposition of your shampoo. So what makes your shampoo different from all the others? It should be one thing. So it's different from having, you know, all the features of a product listed, which is useful because you know your product, you know, all the characteristics and so on. But then you need to ensure that you have this unique selling proposition, and this should have a crucial role in your mix. Because then, not only in terms of product, but also, for example, in terms of promotion, you will choose to communicate that unique selling proposition because you know that specific feature is the one that makes you different. You may have more things that make you different, but at the end of the day, the exercise is for you to have one unique selling proposition in the market. Then other questions that can help yourself to create this mix is what is the quality of your product? Why? Because depending on that, you should play more or less on this specific piece. So in your magic poison, if you have a product that is excellent in quality, you will push a lot for the quality of the product. If not, you will play with other letters. So your mix, your final poison will not made with a lot of quality, of course. And then how do you understand your target market to make sure your product will survive and succeed? So the understanding of the target market should be very, very in depth to understand what is the right mix for your final consumer. And then, of course, what is your actual product in terms of name, packaging, style, and all the parts that compose your product. So this is for sure one important part of your mix. So knowing that during the product development process, of course, if you are a product manager, you can make several product decisions that at the end will directly affect your final mix, because it will affect also the other mix variables. We will go to price and you will see how your product, of course, can influence your final price. So all the pieces are not only every piece is important, like we saw in the first lecture, but when you think about the mix, it's important for you to understand that all the pieces are also interrelated between them. So basically, of course, the characteristic, the features of your product will affect the other variables of the marketing mix, such as pricing decisions, the placement, and also the promotion. So the basic understanding of your product help you to take the related mix decisions. When we talk about price, we know that is basically the amount a customer will pay if she wants to obtain the product or service. We already saw this P. And basically, once you understand and develop a product for the target group of customer, the next step will be to make a pricing decision. So also your pricing decision will be part of your final mix. How the two are interrelated, of course. Is not only a matter of financial sustainability, but it's also a matter of perceived value and quality of the product. So for sure, if you have a product that is high quality as part of the mix, you will be able to charge a lot for that. So you could decide in your final recipe to have a very high price versus competition, because this is justified by high quality and also, as we discussed last time, a high perception of your brand and of your product. Vice versa, if your product has nothing special, probably you will end up with maybe playing with price. So you may want to offer the same product at a lower price. So your mix will play on price. There was the example of Ryanair last time that is for sure playing a lot of price in the final marketing mix. And then, of course, there are other considerations that can affect your pricing decision, such as your competitor price, your targeting, your position, and your value chain, because at the end, of course, you will need to ensure economic sustainability. So as part of the mix, you will assess all these different things to decide how to play, to take your final decision in terms of price, and to input this in your marketing mix. So you are clear about the product, you're clear about the price, and then you have the place, right? So we saw that the placement basically is made of your distribution channel. So you will decide where and how to distribute your service on your product. But this is also part of the marketing mix, because of course you will need to reach your target group of customer, and you will decide what the best mix in terms of channels to reach the target, also based on what your product is, and also based on what your price is. Because if you have a very low, very cheap product, probably you will not place that product in some luxury channels. Or if you have if you have a luxury product, you will not want it to be in just in a normal market or everywhere. You will need to protect your exclusivity. So it's not that always you want to maximize your distribution, but you want this to be a part of your marketing mix consistently with the other piece. And then, of course, consumer product will need a wide distribution. Premium products, on the other hand, will need selective distribution channels. Of course, you have the digital place, as we already seen. And then you have the last P, the promotion, that also is the final mix, let's say the final P of your mix. So you will decide according to your price, to your product, and to your place to communicate and to have this final P according to what your decision was. So everything needs to be consistent, basically. We already had a deep dive on this piece in the last time about marketing communication. So it's important for you to find out the most relevant mediums, the most relevant channel to share product information, and also build brand awareness in the mind to consumers. So when we talk about promotion, you can have this, let's say, these two main characteristics to group of communication. The first one is ATL, meaning above the line. Here you need to consider the mass media channels, television, radio, newspaper, as we were mentioning on Friday. And then you have what we call the below the line, BTL. So it's the market that is more, you can be more precise with the below the line marketing strategy. So you have email, that can be a one-to-one tool, social media, because you can target even more specifically a group of people or a niche, shopper marketing, events, door-to-door advertising. All these activation are considered below the line. Usually in your mix, you can decide if you want to invest more in above the line or below the line, or both, and in what percentage. So depending also on these specific choices, your final mix will be, of course, different, will bring you a different result. There is no, of course, right, wrong choices, but the important thing is to make these choices, so to be aware about the need to make it, to have these choices, and then to stick as much as you can to what your strategy is. So your marketing mix should be a very consistent way to bring to the market what your strategy is in terms of this first piece. You already know that when we talk about promotion, it's not only about advertising, but also promotion, public relations, and so on, like we saw on Friday. When you have, of course, more creative way to play on this specific P as part of your mix, you could play with bots or word of mouth. It's well known the importance of word of mouth in marketing, that usually is even more effective than advertising. Think about receiving an advice from a close friend rather than seeing a message on television. human being tends to trust more his own network. But also you can get some creative guerrilla marketing as part of this mix. So sometimes to gain attention, consumer attention, you make something disruptive that goes beyond the traditional media channels. And this could be part of your mix if, of course, this is consistent with your objective and with your brand. Not every brand can do an act of guerrilla marketing, or at least every brand can do a guerrilla marketing, but the reaction from the consumer will not be the same, and specifically the reaction from your target consumers, that is what is most important for you. So basically, when you talk about the marketing mix, is the mix of your decisions regarding all these 4 Ps. And remember that it's not something static. So imagine that tomorrow you launch a new startup, you will make some decision about your product, your price, your promotion, and your place, but this will evolve on a regular basis. So it's something that, yes, should be consistent a long time, but also you need to be flexible enough to change the ingredients, like in a real recipes, to optimize or to make evolve your marketing mix depending on the stages of your product. So at the beginning, you could have a very different marketing mix from, your mix 10 years after, once your product is well known, is in the market, is already successful, and so on. You could play with these choices, and you might be end up to revise them on a regular basis. And this is very important for you to make sure that your mix is always up to date. And then, of course, your company marketing mix has a great influence on segmentation target and positioning of your products and brand. We will talk more about what a positioning is. So market positioning. Basically, imagine you want to be a shampoo. Today all the examples are about shampoos. So imagine that you want to be a shampoo manufacturer. And of course, there are thousands of other shampoos in the market. So why do you think customers will buy your specific shampoo from a cluster of million options? This is the classical situation where you go in front of a shelf, you see thousands of similar shampoos. By the end, you decide to buy a specific shampoo. And the choice is different for every one of us, right? Because I'm sure, here we are a group of people, we may end up having using some shampoo in common, but in general, each one will make a different choice based on the best mix. So we will buy the best marketing mix for us. So not only the best product, of course, but also the best mix, the best product at the best price with the best promotion for us. So if you have a shampoo with a unique features, of course, that you can give to your, let's say, target customer, of course, you can play on it. But in general, that's why it's so important to make some choices. It's true that people don't want to buy a product that claims to do everything. So it's not even so much important for you to have a magic shampoo that do everything, but instead it's much more effective to tackle basically something or one single thing, but be the best in that specific, with that specific feature or that specific need. So basically, you just need to show them that your shampoo can specifically do that. It's not that you do everything, you do specifically that. And this is very linked to what we discussed a few minutes ago about your unique selling proposition. So if you are clear about my unique selling proposition, then I will communicate that specific feature that is unique of my shampoo. And then that specific unique selling proposition needs to be relevant, of course, for your target customer, because imagine your unique selling proposition, your specific feature of the shampoo, it's, I don't know, for people to get blonde hair, but then you may discover that your target customer is not interested in that specific and relevant need. Nobody cares about getting blonde hair. Maybe they have other needs. So it's very important that your unique selling proposition is consistent and relevant for your target customer, and then that you address it. So never be general, but always be very specific on what you're addressing. So for this reason, you need to position your product or service uniquely. And here we're talking about market positioning. So what is market positioning? Is to take a stand, take a position in the market and make it clear to you, first of all, but also at the very end to your target customer. So your target customer needs to be aware of what your unique selling proposition is. So a question between us, given we are speaking about shampoos, can you recall one of them, so one shampoo brand that in your opinion have a clear positioning, and why, what this positioning is? Think about all the shampoo brands you see the advertising of, or even the one you buy usually. What will you say is its unique selling proposition? Which brand do you
Silvia
usually buy?
wrote in the chat that she thinks about Pantene.
Okay.
For me, I don't know, like I don't have a particular one, I'd say. I know that Oyster, I think, makes good products, but I don't know, like I don't use them.
Yeah, here we're not talking about good products. We're talking about a clear positioning in mind, meaning that when you think about that specific product, for example, Pantene, it has a clear position in your mind. Doesn't mean we're not even talking about awareness. So it's not only that it's a well-known brand, Pantene for sure is, but it's a clear, it has a unique selling proposition. So out of its marketing mix, it's addressing one specific need, and this is clear to you.
I would say like Head and Shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the first one that I think about because they address that this shampoo prevents, I don't know how to say foot in English, but like when you think about it, you just think straight away at their objective. So it's kind of effective in that way. Like the specific feature, they're not general, they just underline that their product can do this, so prevent having problems with your hair.
Yeah, that's for sure one very clear example, and in fact was also the one I brought for you, because it's really clear that Head and Shoulder is not like a shampoo like every other. So if you see the pack, it's very well stated. So just under the logo, what we call the brand block, you have Head and Shoulder, and immediately it's, call out that is a shampoo against the Forfora. And then also you have some reasons to believe. So I'm not only telling you that I'm the best shampoo to fight Forfora, but I also give you some reason to believe my brand promise. So I give you some concrete things that make you believe that I'm a effective against Forfora. You see here the claims, right? So 100% of protection is clinically tested. So it's very much focused on this specific need. And you also see the advertising. Probably you will not hear the video. You don't hear the audio, right?
No.
Okay, last time, but you will find the video also in the deck. So there is just one ad from them, and you will notice that the message is very strict, very straightforward to this specific need, not like in general, right? But they are addressing one specific need. Sorry. This one specific need about Forfora, and this is what they communicate. So it's a mix, right? Because they start from the product, they tested that is specifically effective for this benefit. For sure, they did some research, some consumer research, so they know that for their target, this specific need is relevant, of course. And then they promote exactly that unique selling proposition. And it's not a case that already between us, this brand came out, because they, of course, position very clear about this specific benefit. I don't know about Pantene. Probably they try to do something similar, maybe with another need, because of course that should be your unique selling proposition. So if you have other product claiming so hard on the same benefit, then you should make sure that your mix is stronger. Otherwise, the perceived benefit will be exactly the same. So for sure, you can find in the market other shampoos that are against Forfora, but maybe they're not so strict in communicate like Head & Shoulder. So you can see all the ads once you download the deck. So basically, why is so important to have a market positioning in the market? Let's see some things. So basically, just to recap, market position in simple word is a marketing strategy that focuses on creating a unique image or perception of a brand, a product, or service in customers' mind. So you work to create and to reinforce this association. Of course, you play with the 4 P's of marketing to create this mix. And the more a business focuses on these 4 P's, the better will be its positioning in the market, because it will be consistent with all the elements you can play with. And then we were talking about market positioning of a product or a service. Of course, when you please your customer with supreme quality, price becomes a less concern issue. So if you have a strong marketing mix and you have a clear unique selling proposition, you make sure that this is well understood by your target marketing, and basically you lower the importance that the price has in the overall equation. Then many brands, of course, focus on providing this kind of innovation or uniqueness in the market. And then if you can bring something new and fascinating, you can charge higher price and people will pay for it happily. And this is also what marketing is about, right? Because as we saw in the first lecture, it's about sharing value. So it's about creating value. So exactly the same product without any market has less value in the market. So just because you are marketing your product, you are adding value. And in the end, you can charge more as a final result. So when a brand is not enriched with innovation or superior quality, then it's the opposite, right? Pricing is an excellent option for you to challenge your competitors, offering your product at a cheaper price. So this is how you can play. And then, of course, we have customer service as discussed. So customer service, if properly managed, can create a massive and defining image in customer minds. So you don't only have promotion to reinforce, to reiterate this association, but you also have other levers, such as, for example, customer service. So in some specific industries, such as banking or restaurants, this can also be part of your mix and can play a source of competitive advantage. And then another advantage of a marketing positioning is the micro level, let's say, because targeting a micro level market segment is another effective way of market positioning. So if you target a specific niche, you will be able to specialize and serve better its needs. So it's true that you're talking to a smaller customer base, but at the same time, you will be much more specific. So you make sure that for that specific niche, for that specific market, you are the expert, you are the more specialized one. So if you are looking for that specific need, then you know what the best choice is. You can think about, for example, functional food for athletes. Basically, they are targeting athletes or people, that need a certain amount of nutrients, such as proteins and so on. So they are very specific about that, and they make out of this need their unique selling proposition. Or even you can think about skin products. There are some skin products that are specific to address one specific problems, but maybe affect only a specific target customer and not the others. But at least you are positioning clearly your product in the market, and you will be not only relevant for that specific niche, but also the best choice if you provide the best marketing mix. So other advantages of the marketing positioning is increasing revenue for sure, because when a brand succeeds in creating a unique market position, its revenue increase due to a boost in the sales volume. Build a competitive edge, because of course, this is what your marketing mix is all about, right? So either if you are following a pricing strategy or you are focusing on providing quality products or service, at the end, the ultimate goal of yours is to develop a competitive advantage when you position your brand in the market. You will be more competitive against competition. And especially, you can play with everything your competitor don't have, because this is a competitive advantage. Either you are playing on price, uniqueness, on quality. Regardless what your choice is, you will play on what makes you different from competitors. And then another advantage is, for example, the easiness to launch and promote a new product. So once you are clear and well positioned in the market, so you're already well positioned in your segment, of course, once you launch a new product, you will be in a better position to penetrate the market. So looking at the same things on the other perspective, you will also be much more effective for your strategy, and you will minimize your risk. So at the end, even thinking ahead in terms of expansion, if you are well positioned, it will be much more easier for you to expand, because you already own a position in the market, in the customer minds. They know you, they know what you are about, why you exist in the market, your reason why. And then, of course, is also linked to create a brand identity. On Friday, we were discussing about brand awareness. So how much your brand is known by consumers, but there is a level that is something more, right? Is your brand identity. So basically the image, the perception you depict about your brand, and the image that you want to put in customer minds about your brand or your product. And for sure, having a clear positioning help in depicting this brand identity, this brand image, because this image will be much more consistent to your decisions. You will be much in control of your brand identity. And then, of course, a well-done positioning simplifies the purchase decision, because positioning allows customers to determine what kind of benefits they will get from a specific product or service. So basically, you will be much more crystal clear about who you are and why you are in the market. So you could get a much smooth purchase decision. So these are other advantages, let's say. Sorry, we came back of some slides. So these are, in a nutshell, some advantages of a well-done market position. Okay, then how to create a successful market positioning strategy. So we saw what a market position is, why it's so important, what advantages can give you within your overall business strategy, but how we can create a successful market position strategy. Well, first of all, you should identify your strengths through competitor analysis, because we saw that market position should give you a unique position in the market, right? So at the end, the ultimate goal is to make you different. So you need to understand where you can be different from your competitors, and supposedly where you can be better than your competitors, right? Different in a sense that you are better than others, not different in the sense that you can even be worse. So it's very important to identify the difference between you and your competitor, because at the end you can play on your strengths and you can use them as a source of opportunity. Then, of course, you need to analyze the current market position, because before you decide to position yourself in the market, you need to evaluate your current positioning. So if you already are in the market, where I am now, where I stand, which image, for example, customers, consumers has about me, myself, is aligned to the one I want? Maybe not. So I need to act, I need to take some decision, I need to change my marketing mix to make sure that my unique selling proposition is well accepted, well understood by my target customers. And even if I'm still not in the market, so I'm launching a new product, I really need to understand what the needs are, which ones are already addressed, maybe by competitors. And if I cannot address it better, then maybe I need to pick another need that is still not satisfied in the market to be the best addressing that specific need. So this will help you in differentiating yourself, of course, from your competitors. And then once you are clear about this, of course, a detailed competitor positioning analysis. So it's not only about your position in the market, but it's also about your competitor strengths, not only about our own strengths, but also competitor strengths and how they can challenge you. So it's important that because you need to take a position, think about physically. So it's like if you're in the market, you need to stand and to take a clear position. Then it's important for you to make aware of the risk of other players coming in the same position. So of course, the best position for you is the one that is different from competitor, but is also one position that is difficult for reach. It's difficult to reach for your competitors. If it's easily reached, they can easily reach you. So of course, you assess your competitor strengths, your current position, and then you create your own market positioning strategy. So once you have examined the factor mentioned above, you are clear about your position, strengths, opportunities, you develop accordingly your positioning strategy. So let's see some positioning techniques. Basically, you can have some tools that can help you to assess everything you need to assess then to decide your market positioning. One technique, very common, is what is called perception mapping. So basically, what you define is a perception mapping that is basically a technique to represent what people think about products or service, people or ideas. So you want to map this perception, right? Making very easily, you want to know what are the associations people make with your product or your brands or even with your competitors. So again, think about shampoos. You are Head and Shoulder, but you want to know what is the position held by Pantene. So you ask people for make some association. Okay, want you associate to Pantene? Which are the first things that came to your mind thinking about Pantene? What the benefit that Pantene is addressing? So that you can make sure you map all this perception, and then you realize which the real perception are, because you can have a desired perception that maybe does not correspond to reality. So you will need to build the perception you want to have in the market. So this exercise is very useful, both to be aware about people association to your brands, but also to understand the difference versus competition. So everyone knows the environment is quite turbulent, especially in these years. So also this perception changes fast. People think different things about brands, and also the perception and the attitude towards specific products can change depending also on what's happening in the market, what's happening in the world, the new trends coming up. So again, as for the marketing mix, also the perception map is a tool that is evolving, is not static. So a company can lose, for example, its position. You have found your perfect market position, you are very happy, but then due to a change in technology, for example, you may lose your competitive advantage. But also consumer attitudes, competitive activity, both in the economy and amongst creative executives, can influence and change your marketing positioning. It's not only about you moving, but it's also about the world moving, maybe in another direction. So never be blind about this thing. So this is the reason why a company should be in constantly touch with the marketplace and reposition itself before suffering in terms of products, image, and revenue. Think about products that was like golden in the past years, in the past decades, but then they didn't do anything to renovate its own market positioning. And now, if you look at exactly the same products, exactly the same brands, they seem a bit outdated to you. This is what happens if you don't renovate your market position. So even if you are a very winning one, you should be able always to go through this assessment and change position accordingly. Then we saw the perception map. Then another tool, of course, is to position a product to specific segment. So this is a bit related to what we discussed about Head and Shoulder, right? So positioning a product to specific segment is the logical step. So once you have mapped all the perception, basically, you need to take some choices. So positioning involves sacrifice. When you make a choice, you choose what to do, and automatically you choose what not to do. And this is very important, right? Because you cannot afford to give all things to all people. You need to be choiceful about what you want to offer, your mix, and also your target specific customers. Many brands say, we don't have a target. We are for everyone. This is not true. And if it's true, it's wrong from a mix, from a market positioning perspective, because it's meaning you are not holding a specific position. You can have a very large target, okay, but for sure, you're not offering something to everyone out there. Otherwise, you don't have a target. And then, of course, when we are discussing about positioning, we have to decide what we are offering to whom. So this is also determines our competitive arena. What is our competitive arena? Is who strategically we consider our real competitors. So speaking about cars, for example, of course, if you are Ferrari and you own your very clear market position in the market, I think that their brand image is very clear to all of us. So I'm picking this example. Then you are in the car industry, but then because you are so clear about your positioning, you are clear about your marketing mix and your target customers, this also will determine your competitive arena, which is not the full market. So Fiat, for example, is not considered a competitor by Ferrari. Ferrari will consider its own competitors like Lamborghini and other luxury cars. But this is a very simple example. It's not only about price, it's real about your market positioning. So your competitors are the ones who are addressing the same need. If you have competitors in the same industry that are addressing a different needs, then you're not competing because you are not targeting the same customer needs and the customer base. You are speaking to different people, even if you are in the same industry. And also, you may have some competitors that are from other industries. These are considered indirect competitors, right? But if you need to go beyond, right, your own market, if other brands are keeping the same market positioning, so they are addressing the same need, they still need to be considered your competitors. So your competitive arena is like the total amount of your competitors. But here again, be clear about who you compete with and who you don't. And then there is the communication process, right? So we discuss about the planning activity, we consider the offer, which consists of product, service, price, and so on. But then the way it is represented to the customer through a communication message is also part of your market positioning. We discussed on Friday about marketing communication. This is an element that builds your market position, because if you hold the market position and then you don't communicate consistently, this will not be never ever effective to your final target. So imagine Head and Shoulder as the product very specific against Forfora. Imagine to see an ad that is talking you of another benefit or to something completely different, then the image in customer minds, of course, will not be so clear and defined like the one we saw. We saw such a strong results because every element of the mix was consistent, including promotion. Because of course, communication helps the marketeer to build up image of a product, and of course, most of organizations create value through this offer. And then let's see some positioning mistakes to avoid. So we saw some techniques, also some common mistakes that are done by also big brands. So it's something easy to fall in. So one common mistake is a confused positioning. So basically making too many claims and frequently changing the product features can make, of course, as a result, the customers confused about your brand image. Head and Shoulder is, I don't know how many years they communicate this clear positioning. Maybe they are making even more clear, even stronger to be more effective. But if from tomorrow, this can happen, from tomorrow they communicate something completely different, of course, it's a completely rebranding. Or imagine in the same pack, like we saw before, you don't have only claims about Forfora, but you have your claim about Forfora, your claim about another benefit, another claim about another benefit, then you fall in that trap that you're offering too many things. You want to solve it all. Rather, it's much more effective to be consistent and to make your choices. So if a brand makes too many promises and claims to be the best, of course the positioning might be diluted. We use these terms, market positioning dilution, because the image in the customers is less clear, is like blurred. So there is not one clear benefit. And in the end, you will be not only less memorable, but also less credible. Then another mistake is over-positioning. So over-positioning means that a brand basically has gone way too specific in niche selection that only appeals to very few customers. So we saw a mistake on wanting to be the best solution for everyone. This is the opposite, right? So basically you are so specific that you end up being appealed only for a very specific niche. So remember that being specific is a very good thing, like we saw, but if your target is too narrow, then you might have problems in volumes and, of course, compromising growth. So it's very good to be specific, but you should always assess that your need is relevant for a good number of people, of course, that your target is not too narrow. Otherwise, you will have a very, very niche market. Then another mistake is under-positioning. Under-positioning basically means that a brand has failed to create a unique or differentiated image in customer minds. So it's like if you want to appeal to everyone, you are likely not to attract anyone. So basically here, you are under-positioning in the sense that you are not having a position that is strong enough for your own specific target. And again, the result will be very general, very generalistic. And then we have, let's say, here it's called a doubtful positioning, but we can use this sentence when I think is very effective in describing the mistake, is that the final result of your positioning could be, well, it's too good to be true. So basically, you are not credible, you are not reliable. And of course, you know that very often we don't trust brand claims or brand promises. That's why it's so important to reinforce, like we saw the example of Head & Shoulders, that not only claims we are the best against Forfora, but we give some reasons to believe to increase our credibility. So basically, you need to be consistent, and you need to watch out every single part of the mix to be sure that you are loyal to your promise. So in terms of price, in terms of features of the product, everything you promise, everything that is part of your market position should have a concrete match on from a consumer perspective. Otherwise, you will not be credible in what you are promising. And if you have the best market positioning, but this is not, let's say, a consumer don't believe you, then it's useless. So let's see some example of some brands that owns a specific positioning. So the first one is Tesla. So I think it's very interesting what Tesla did in these years, because this is an example of a very precise positioning in the market, right? We are in the industry of cars, but what they managed to do is to create a very strong market position. And basically, especially in the first years, it's like they take out of the equation one P, that is price. At the beginning, it's still like this, but the beginning was even stronger when they entered the market. Tesla was crazily expensive, right? So it was not easy to justify that price to customers' eyes, but they did how? With a very strong market positioning. So Tesla is not only a luxury brand, so they didn't justify the price only with being a very luxury car, but rather, and even more, with its own position, its own marketing mix. So they all play about being electric and eco-friendly, also well-designed, because in the past, when we spoke about electric car, or in general, think about something sustainable, maybe you are too young to remember, but the first product that was sustainable was very, they were not attractive, let's say. So they had a design that was poor, and the storytelling was okay, but this is sustainable, so it's normal that it's less appealing. Tesla revert this equation and saying, no, we can make a very beautiful car that is also fully electric. And then the third point was high tech. So you enter in a Tesla and you feel like in a small space cabin, right, with the tablet very big, and you have all the function. They are trying to do a self-driving car, so it's so high technology and advanced that you don't even probably need to drive it. very soon. So playing with these specific features, they create a unique product in the market. And now we are to a point that many brands, they launch their own electric car. So if you go to Volkswagen or other brands, BMW and so on, now almost every brand, every car manufacturer has an electric car, but the market positioning now is very difficult to reach. In the consumer's mind, if you think about an electric car, Tesla is very top of mind. And this was a result of this clear market positioning, different from competitors. Then another brand, of course, is Nike, right? So is one of the best brand, globally speaking. And Nike has positioned itself in the market as an innovator with a high focus on performance. So they start from shoes category, but then now expanded in some other segments. So in general, they are offering performance boosting sport. But it's very interesting that the positioning is not for a niche. So when they talk about athletes, basically, and they even state it, so if you go to the Nike website and so on, every time they speak about an athlete, they put like an asterisk and they say, for us, an athlete is everyone that has a body. So they didn't decide to target a specific need on athletes, but rather, in this case, they decide to speak to everyone that wants to improve him or herself, right? So you just need to your body and to your determination to make it happen. Nike, just do it. This was the famous payoff of Nike. So you just need, the willingness to do it, to consider yourself an athlete. And this was a unique storytelling at the time. So Nike disrupted the market with this storytelling. And it was a clever way to speak to a large part of people, but still with a very clear positioning. So still is not for everyone, because if you are a lazy people and you want to spend all your life in the sofa, probably Nike is not reasoning to you. So even with a very, let's say, mainstream brand, talking to a large part of customer base, this is still a very clear marketing positioning. Then we have Starbucks, right? We talk about Starbucks also on Friday because of the assignment. And basically, what Starbucks did, they disrupt the coffee market, especially when they enter in America. This was a completely different way of selling coffee, because what we saw is that they are not selling only good quality coffee, right? But basically, they decide to offer an experience. And especially at the beginning, basically, it was careful targeting office workers who were interested in purchasing a high quality product. So it was even a place, right, when you could work, where you could spend some time. So every element of the marketing mix was thought to target that specific customer base. And then, of course, his positioning is not just a coffee seller, but a cozy place where you can spend time and feel like at home. So this needs to be consistent in every single part of the mix. Imagine tomorrow you enter a new shop from Starbucks. This is what to expect. This is the image Starbucks built, the perception that built about itself. And this is something that also Starbucks needs to stick on. They need to be consistent about it. If tomorrow you enter a store and you have a different experience, then the brand promise is betrayed. And this has a consequence, of course. Okay, so this was just few very famous example, but as an assignment for the next time, I invite you to do something very similar. So the assignment is about picking the brand you choose in the assignment number 1. So for example, Starbucks, Ryanair, and the ones we saw on Friday. You will need to ask to 10 people of your choice their associations linked to the brand. So pick 10 people and ask, okay, if I tell you Starbucks, if I tell you Ryanair, which are your main association into the brand? What comes to your mind? Try to have, of course, more information you have, the better. Then trying to describe its unique selling proposition. So think about that is one single thing that make this brand different from competitor and market position. And then, as last part of the assignment, is about identifying potential perception gaps to be filled. So basically one part of the assignment is the external, because you go to people and you assess all this perception. Then the second part is more internal, because you think about a unique selling proposition of the brand. What's the market positioning the brand, that specific brand wants to own in the market? And then is about making the match. The two things could be perfectly matching, so well done by Starbucks or Ryanair, because what people think about brands is what the brand wants, so the market position is very clear. But it could be not the same. It could be that your perception, the perception you gather, are different, so that you need to fill this gap to make sure that people do the right perception, do the right associations. And of course, this is not statistically significant because you will have only 10 people, but still is a good exercise of what you run as part of a market positioning exercise. So you always start from your customer base, and then you assess this gap. One thing I haven't written down here is that these 10 people should be part of your target. So if you have Ryanair as a brand, don't go to people that never go to Ryanair, because this is not part of your customer base. So it's important for you to check the association of your target and not like in general. So this is the second assignment for the next time. Remember we always discuss it in class. So at the beginning of the next lecture, we will discuss this assignment for the ones who have done it already and have the pleasure to share it. And then always remember to send it to my email so that I can track and I register all your assignments. And so that is, let's say, marked as done. Cool. Do you have some question, considerations, maybe from your experience about the brands you use in your everyday life?
I have a
Not really, no.
question about the
Yes.
assignment.
Yes.
Because, like, I don't know 10 people that buy Rolex. And I switch the.
You have a difficult one.
Yeah.
But yes, you can switch if you don't
Okay.
don't find 10 people. But think about the target. The target is not necessarily the one who
Yeah.
buy already, but maybe 10 people. For those Rolex might be an aspirational brand, and maybe they could wish it. Let's say.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
But if you don't find, okay, you can
Okay,
change
perfect.
and of course. Okay, guys. So thanks for your participation. We'll see next time. It's not this Friday, but is the Friday of next week. The last lecture. So we'll see on Friday next week, always in the Ordinuovi classroom.
Perfect. See you next Friday.
Thanks a lot and have a great evening.
Thank
Have a
you.
great evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.